Welcome, everyone. This is going to be, I think, a very interesting presentation. We have Sharon Gadbois. I practiced this, and apparently I didn't practice it enough. Gadbois, who is with the SBA. She is the SBA Public Affairs person, and she is going to talk to us about the SBA and their disaster assistance. But before we get started with her presentation, this is being brought to you by SCORE. My name is Diane McKeever. I am the Education Director for our chapter. SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization that's an independent resource partner of the SBA. We provide free, confidential business mentoring to anybody that asks for it. All you have to do is apply and you will be assigned a mentor. Our chapter, the Minnesota chapter that serves Manatee and Sarasota counties, has nearly 90 volunteers standing by waiting to help you. Our chapter was recently recognized as a District Chapter of the Year, which we're very proud about. Since its founding in 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients. And where can we help you in this process? Well, pretty much the whole way. We can help you if you just woke up with an idea, or you're opening up your business and you need some help. Perhaps it's marketing or financing, or you want to grow your business, or lastly, you want to sell or close your business, or maybe buy a business and you would like some advice on that. We've got a whole team dedicated to that very subject. We encourage you to visit our website, minnesota.score.org. There you can request a mentor. There are 2 buttons to do that. You can find a workshop like this. We offer weekly workshops on a variety of topics. Next week's workshop, I'm telling you, go to our website. It's all about what to do after somebody goes to your website. You know, all those people that come to your website and don't buy? Well, we can help you turn that around and get them to be buyers. You can locate podcasts that are recorded, or look in our resource of our libraries for templates or other documents that will help you. Lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors and community partners. Without these folks, the lights wouldn't be on and I wouldn't be here. So we want to thank them very much. You'll note that many of these are banks. If you come into a bank with a SCORE volunteer, there's a better chance that you are going to be listened to, because they know that you've got somebody behind you, somebody backing you. So I am going to stop sharing. Sharon, if you turn on your camera and you start sharing your screen. There we go. Open up your presentation and put it in the slideshow view.
Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to, let's see, share screen. And let's see.
Do you have your PowerPoint open?
Yes, I do. I'm working on that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
and you just need to do one more thing, which is in the upper left corner. You want to click that little slideshow icon.
Yep, I was waiting for the the toolbar to go away. So
you may have to drag it away. There's also another icon in the lower right corner that might be easier to get to. Okay. Perfect.
Yep. Okay, great. So as Diane mentioned, my name is Sharon Gadbois, and
I knew you'd do a better job at that than I would.
Oh, we always do a better job at it, right? So so I worked in the Office of Disaster Assistance under the Small Business Administration umbrella. A lot of people are familiar with SBA for, you know, the loans that helps us get our business off the ground. A lot of people actually don't know that there's a disaster assistance side. And so that's actually who I work with. I work in Field Ops Center East, and we handle pretty much everything east of the Mississippi River, including Minnesota. And so I'm just going to kind of go over some information about the declaration, and the declaration meaning Hurricane Ian and why we're here. And maybe you've been affected or know someone that's been affected, whether that's physically or even economically affected. And sometimes some businesses don't realize that they are affected economically, but maybe not a severe impact. Maybe it's a slow kind of churning economic impact over time. Now, living in Southeast Florida for 20 years, I'm very familiar with when the season starts here in Florida. So I just want to kind of give you a overview a little bit of SBA. We've actually been around since 1953. We've been doing disaster loans since inception. And also SBA is the largest provider of disaster recovery funds, even beyond FEMA. And a lot of people don't know that. And the other thing is the majority of the loans that we give out are to homeowners and renters. So, all right, so let's just get started. This is the area in which was damaged by Hurricane Ian. So if you see the state of Florida, pretty much everything down on the right side of Florida, that peninsula side has been pretty much damaged. So all the stuff in the green is the primary counties where the primary damage happened. All the yellow ones that you see here, Miami-Dade, Broward, Martin, St. Lucie, Indian River, and then up top like Hernando, Sumter, Marion, etc. Those are all the contiguous counties. And so in the primary counties, all of the businesses and are eligible for all of our programs. And then in the contiguous counties, the yellow counties area that you see there are only eligible for the economic injury disaster loan, and only small businesses are eligible for economic injury disaster loan. And just as a little tip that Diana and I were speaking about earlier, 90% of our makeup for our economy is through small businesses. Okay, so let's go to the next screen. All right. All right, so
I
this
don't
talks
think
a
you
little.
need to hold your microphone up. I think we can hear you just fine.
Oh, you can? Okay, no problem. Because there was some background noise, so I just didn't want to make sure you didn't hear any of the background noise. Yeah. Okay, so there are, let's see if I can move this out of the way. Yep. So different types of loans. We have physical property damage for homeowners and businesses. We also have economic injury disaster loan. And then we also have the personal property damage, which coincides with a homeowner side, renter side. And then if you are a business and you had suffered any kind of damage inside of the structure, that wouldn't be called personal property, of course. That would be called business assets or business contents. And so these are the different types of loans here. It just kind of gives you a quick run and dirty of what we offer there. And so let me kind of give you an example. So if you are, let's say Aunt Diane here, lived in Venice, and let's say that was a part of the county that had a severe amount of damage. And let's say she took her, I don't know, let's say she had a big family of, let's say 50, and she took them out every Saturday for lunch at her favorite Italian restaurant. You called it, is it Arso's?
Asaro.
Asaro, yep. And so let's say every Saturday she took out her big family and to Asaro's. And so now if her home is damaged in Venice, then she's busy putting her extra funds on the recovery process. And she's doesn't have the extra funds to take out her big family of 50 to Asaro's at the Italian restaurant down the way from her. And so if Asaro's is now not making the revenue they once were, because that big family of 50 is not going there every Saturday, that money adds up. And so that would be called an economic impact to their business. It's also called an economic injury. And so they're eligible for the economic injury disaster loan. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. And so an economic injury disaster loan is basically to provide working capital to help the business stay current, stay working, floating, not floating, stay in business so that you can continue operating your business as normal. So the essential idea of working capital is to provide you the cash flow that you need to operate your business had the disaster not occurred, continue to be able to pay your expenses. Mhm. Okay, so requirements for loan approval is eligibility, credit history, and repayment. So the eligibility factor is the businesses must be located in a declared county. Okay, credit history, applicants must have a credit history that's acceptable to SBA. Repayment is applicants must show the ability to repay all loans. Okay, and also SBA's several powerful tools to make disaster loans affordable. So the interest rates for nonprofit organizations is as low as 1.875%, and for small businesses, it's as low as 3.04%, and the loan terms are up to 30 years. And the filing deadline for economic injury happens to be 9 months from the declaration date, okay, which is June 29th, 2023. You'd hear the background noise. That's why I covered it. Yeah.
No,
No, you don't. Okay, that's good. So small businesses may not necessarily realize the economic impact to their business right away. And that's why they have that extended deadline. So for instance, case in point, Florida, normally their season starts off around October-ish, right? But in recent years, because of COVID, were kept inside for so long, people kind of didn't want to stay inside longer. The season started getting off in Florida a lot sooner than October, like around September, sometimes late August, like right after the kids went to school. And people would start coming to Florida. So last year, I know that uh, businesses in Florida were starting to flourish around the September mark, earlier than normal. And so this time last year, businesses were almost in full swing. And prior to that slower time, around the holiday. So this time last year, you were a lot busier. Maybe you have a little bit slower. Maybe the business is a little bit slower this time of year because of Hurricane Ian. And you'd have to look at your finances and your books to see, how much money you're actually taking in right now versus how much you were taking in last year. And if the books are less than last year, then it's a good probability because it's due to Hurricane Ian. Okay. So we would, of course, encourage you to apply for an economic injury disaster loan. Okay, and this applying for an economic injury disaster loan preserves your ability to cover damages, not necessarily physical damages, but economic damages. Okay, and so economic injury disaster loans over 25,000 actually require collateral. However, SBA will not decline or not approve a loan for lack of collateral, but requires collateral that is available. Okay, so to apply, now there's a brochure it's like a trifold brochure. So if you come in contact with that, this is very similar to that. This is like the first page. And so there's 3 pages to the process: apply, application process, and then loan closure and disbursement. And so I'm just gonna kind of go over this a little bit, just so you know. I did send over the slide deck to Diane, so she's going to send over the document to anyone that's attended today, and so that you can have this to read at your leisure. I don't want to bore you with all of the details. You just need to go over it as you need to. So the registration with FEMA is recommended, but is not required for businesses or business applicants. Businesses that are located in those contiguous counties. Remember the yellow areas that I mentioned earlier? Those are the contiguous counties. So registration with FEMA is not necessary. However, there's a little thing I want to point out. FEMA is in the process of working on a business program. And so we've been encouraging from Hurricane Ian, we've been encouraging people to register with FEMA. So when they do roll out their business program, you will be notified. If you don't register with them, they wouldn't know to notify you. That's just a little side note there, okay? Application process. Economic injury disaster loans are not sent to SBA's loss verification team because they do not involve physical damages, which means that a loss verifier or an inspector will not come out to your property to inspect the economic damages. Only if you had physical damages, then a loss verifier or an inspector would come out to inspect the physical damage, which is to the structure of the building. So instead, the file goes directly to a loan officer. Okay, loan closing and disbursements. You can read this at your leisure. Okay, so let me get rid of this little slide there. Oh, what do you know? Okay, so SBA's economic injury disaster loans, or what we've discussed as working capital loans, are available to small businesses, small agricultural cooperatives, small aquaculture businesses, and most private nonprofit organizations of all sizes. So this could include businesses directly or indirectly affected by the disaster. And remember, the primary and contiguous counties. So the primary counties are all the green areas that I mentioned to you that are in the state of Florida. And then all the yellow areas were the contiguous counties or the adjacent counties. Okay, now let's see. So small businesses in a declared disaster area that have suffered substantial economic injury may be eligible for an EIDL, also known as economic injury disaster loan, even if they do not suffer any physical damage. We've discussed that already. So substantial economic injury means that the businesses are unable to meet its obligations to pay its ordinary and necessary operating expenses, financial obligations as a direct result of the disaster. So let's say you're a coffee business, you sell coffee, but you're actually paying for a coffee machine. Let's say it's an espresso machine, and you're paying for this on a monthly basis. It's a lease that you're paying for, or you have a monthly mortgage. It's a fixed expense. So let's say because you were affected by Hurricane Ian economically, and the income is just not coming in, or the revenue is not coming in, let's say, and you're having a hard time meeting all of the fixed expenses you would normally be able to pay. This low interest disaster loan with the SBA would be able to be the cash flow you needed to continue making payments on that espresso machine, for instance. EIDLs provide the necessary working capital to help small businesses until operations return to normal. Okay, let's see here. Let's move this out of the way. More. Okay. So SBA's economic injury disaster loans, these interest loans can help meet working capital needs caused by the declared disaster. It also helps pay financial obligations and operating expenses, which could have been paid had the disaster not occurred, which is the example that I just gave you regarding the espresso machine, right? So fixed debt payments, payroll, accounts payable, etc. Now, the economic injury disaster loans do not replace lost revenue, lost profits, or fund expansion. So you can't be expanding and injured at the same time. You're injured. That's what a low interest disaster loan means, is that you've been injured economically from the recent disaster, in this case, Hurricane Ian. Now, also, EIDLs are not for working capital needs due to an economic downturn, COVID-19, or any reason other than the declared disaster. Okay. Let's see how do I get back here. All right. Okay, so SBA disaster loans are different from other SBA loans. Okay, so I mentioned this earlier on in the beginning, where a lot of people are familiar with SBA regarding like the 5A loans or microloans or the business loans that they use to kind of got their business off the ground. So the SBA disaster loans is specifically for Hurricane Ian only, unless for some reason down the road, we had Hurricane Nicole that came through Florida recently. And so if FEMA decides later on that it meets the needs of another presidential declaration, there will be two declarations going on at the same time. But until we hear from FEMA, currently the only declaration that's going on right now for the state of Florida is Hurricane Ian, okay? And so applicants do not apply through a bank. They actually apply directly through SBA, and you could do it online at disasterloanassistance.sba.gov. Okay, the funds come directly from the U.S. Treasury, just so if anyone had any questions about that. There is no cost to apply. There is no obligation needed if the loan is offered. You can also take a partial amount, and the maximum unsecured loan amount is under $25,000. Sorry, 25,000. If it's $25,001, a collateral would be required. Mhm. Okay, so applicants can have an existing SBA disaster loan and still be qualified to apply for Hurricane Ian disaster loan assistance, but the loans cannot be consolidated, which means they cannot be combined. All right, let's see. Okay, the filing requirements, what you need to apply. Okay, so currently you would complete a SBA loan application. You would also need Form 5, and that's found on the website. Tax information authorization, which is now the Form 4506C. It used to be 4506T like Tom, but they've switched it. It's now 4506C like Charlie for the applicant, principals, and affiliates. Complete copies of the most federal income tax return is important. Schedule of liabilities, which is considered Form 2202, a personal financial statement, which is SBA Form 413, and then other information may also be requested. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to the email communications that you receive from your loan officer, because if they request information, let's say they need some additional financial information, but let's say your CPA is maybe out of the office or on vacation because of the holiday. But let's say your CPA is taking an extended holiday and it goes beyond a few days. You don't want to not communicate with your loan officer. You want to respond to the loan officer and let them know and say, hi, my CPA is on extended leave or because of the holiday, and they won't be back till X date. And I'm going to need a couple of extra days, to get this information from them. What do you suggest? Stay in contact with your loan officer, because if you don't stay in contact with them, they may think that you've changed your mind, and then they would note your account as not being interested any longer for this particular disaster loan. And so that would require you to now reactivate your application. Okay. Now, these are just some of the filing requirements. It just shows you what the documents look like. So we're just going to kind of go through these fairly quickly. As I mentioned earlier, Diane will be emailing you the document, so you'll be able to look through this more closely at your leisure. These filing requirements, of course, are within the application pages. You would review everything and check off the boxes to ensure that SBA will have, what we need to process the application. Okay, additional information. Diane, is there a way to minimize the toolbar at the top that goes all the way at the top?
Just move it. You can move it anywhere you want.
Okay, yeah, I've moved it towards the bottom, but it seems to cover everything. Okay, so this is just some of the the documents you see. Now, also for ineligible applicants, like applicants who are not able to apply, like if, like for instance, you're political or a lobbyist, you wouldn't be able to apply. Just to kind of give you an example, and you'll be able to look at that also at your leisure. All right. Now this is what the Form 5 looks like. Okay. And this is the front side, back side, more back. Okay. And this is what 5C, Form 5C looks like. Okay, now this particular document mentions the making sure to only check the box indicating sole proprietor economic injury. So that speaks to, we actually allow businesses of all sizes to apply, whether you're a sole proprietor, which means it could mean an independent contractor, or maybe you work in the gig economy. The other thing is if you're an LLC or S Corp, thing like that, you don't just have to be a C Corp to apply. Okay, let's see. Another side, part 2. Here's the back side.
I see that these are available online. I would think you want to encourage that.
Yes, they are
I've
online.
seen people's handwriting.
Oh, yep, they are online, and they are the PDFs. You can see the blue in them.
Yes.
And so you can just type right in there. And
Yes.
now when you're filling out the paperwork, the forms, I want to draw your attention to being very careful and not going through it zippity quick, because I actually started in the customer service side, you know, where people call the 1-800-659-2955 number. And it's been so many times where people would call in and say, oh, my EIN number doesn't match, or oh, my social security number doesn't match. So I would strongly encourage you, because if we were to verify your information and your last 4 digits of social security number, let's say you gave us to verify your identity, did not match with your application, that because of owner operator error. So be very careful about entering any kind of information. And you want to make sure, because when you submit this application, you're attesting to its validity of it and that it's true and correct. So in any part of it's not correct, and then you try to, it just causes problems down the line.
Sure.
Don't do that to yourself. Just be very careful that, you know, make sure you have your financial tax return with you present and available when you're filling out this information, if you're doing this online by yourself. But I'm going to talk about a little bit in a few minutes. There are some centers that we have. We have recovery centers all over the state to help people apply through this application process. And so I would encourage people to visit a recovery center to get help with the application process. Because remember, we know the application inside and out. Our customer service people that are at the recovery centers know the application inside and out, and they can help you if you get hung up, or sometimes we're applying online and we're like, God, I wish I could just ask. God, I wish I could just ask. And I could tell you, well, that God, I wish I could ask. We're everywhere. We have centers all over the place. So we're going to go over that in just a little bit. But I just kind of want to give people an idea of what they look like. So when they look at it again more closely, they're like, oh yeah, she mentioned that. This is Form 413. Yeah, financial statement. Okay, just so they know. Now, additional filing requirements. Okay, so complete copy, include all schedules of the most recent federal income tax return for principals, general partners, or managing member and affiliates. Okay, and if the most recent federal income tax return has not been filed, a year-end profit and loss statement and balance sheet for that tax year would be required. Also, a current year-to-date profit and loss statement is a good idea. Also, additional filing requirements. SBA Form 1368 provides monthly sales figures. This is especially important for those economic injury disaster loans. The next one is, there you go. There's the 1368 front side. It's a very basic form. Okay, now if you were to go online, this is what it looks like. Okay, disasterloan.sba.gov, right? Okay, so it's disasterloanassistance.sba.gov. Okay, so clearly I was typing too fast. This is what not to do. Okay. And so disasterloanassistance.sba.gov in the URL of this screenshot is where you would go. And this is actually what it looks like, okay? Loan information, you can search declarations there for future reference. You can click the apply online and you'll be able to do that, or apply for assistance. You can do the red one right there as well. Okay, these are some of our resource partners. It includes SCORE. And I actually have a personal experience with SCORE. I was a budding entrepreneur a long time ago when I lived in the Fort Lauderdale area, and SCORE was my first introduction to the SBA. And like many others, I was very familiar with the 5A, microloans, all those kind of things, but I was not aware of the disaster assistance side. And so SCORE is a long-term resource partner of ours, and we thank them for continuing to help our small businesses, you know, become small businesses in the economy. Okay, we also have women's business centers. There is actually one in Tampa Bay. We have the SBDCs and the veterans BOCs as well. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, let's see. And okay, so this is actually a list of our business recovery centers. And these are in Collier County, Hillsborough County, Lee County, Sarasota County, and Seminole. So in Sarasota County right now is in Venice Community Center, which is not too far from you, Diane,
Right.
since you're right there in Venice.
Mhm.
And so, but I do want to point out before I go through some of the other locations is that even though your business might be located in Sarasota, maybe even Manatee County, as long as your business is located in one of the declared counties, you're eligible to apply. Now, do you have to apply in the same county in which your business is located? No, you do.
No.
No, you do not. You can apply at anyone. So if you're visiting over the holiday, and let's say you take an extended time off, and let's say you're going to take the 21st off, or actually we're more on the 22nd now. So let's say you're taking all the way through next Monday and starting tomorrow. And so that's the 28th. And that's when a lot of the centers are going to be reopening, because now they're closed on Sundays and they're only open 6 days a week. So they're going to have a nice long holiday week, just like yourself. But let's say you're down in Monroe County, which is a primary county. Let's say you have family down there, and that center happens to be the closest one to you. What you could do is collect all of your documents prior to going to your family, keeping them in your, business document folder. And then on your way back up, you could stop early in at a center, let's say in Monroe County, and you could apply there. There's several mobile business recovery centers. So I'm gonna, there you go. There's the mobile recovery centers right there. There's 2 in Pasco opening on the 28th. And then, so what it does is they'll open one on the 28th, and then they'll close on a certain time, and then they'll reopen in another location in Pasco County. See how that works?
Mhm.
Yep. So Pasco County, Sarasota County, there's 3 there. Hardy County, there's 2 there. Now, these are the mobile recovery centers, disaster recovery centers put on by FEMA. The business recovery centers are SBA only. And this is also in the slide deck that you'll be emailing out, that people can take a look at, and they can look at the dates and everything like that as well. And this is disaster recovery centers. Now, in a disaster recovery center, you have FEMA in-house and you have SBA in-house. There are other resources or other organizations in the disaster recovery center as well. But I could tell you, if you want a one-stop shop location, a FEMA disaster recovery center is a good idea, simply because you can register with FEMA and then they can walk you over to SBA. All right. And then they just go on for days. There's like several locations. Yeah. Okay. So if you have more information, feel free to call us, the 1-800-659-2955. Just a quick question. They're open 6 days a week. So it's Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as far as I know, on Saturdays, 12 to 5, Eastern Standard Time. You can always email us at disastercustomerservice@sba.gov and someone would get back to you. However, I would strongly encourage you to visit any of one of our centers, Business Recovery Center, a mobile disaster recovery center, or a disaster recovery center fixed location near you and apply in person. Because remember, it's that, oh, I wish I could ask this, or oh, I wish I could ask that. And you can while we're still here. Originally, our deadline to apply for physical damages was November 28th, but just 2 or 3 days ago, they extended the deadline to January 12th. So the recovery centers will be extended to stay in the area or stay open until the new deadline of January 12th of next year. And that concludes my presentation for today.
Okay, wonderful.
So if anyone has questions, it looks like we have 12 things going on in the chat there. So if anyone has questions, we can.
So far nobody has, but you know what I'm
Okay.
going to do is bring back my presentation
Great.
and just reinforce a couple of things. So I will share. Whoops. I forgot to go into the slideshow. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Sheesh. You think I never did this before? I've been teaching this program for for over 30 years. Okay.
It's a little tricky sometimes when you're in the middle of trying to maneuver a couple different things. Yep, I totally understand.
That it is. Now where's my toolbar? Man, oh man.
Okay, so they're both deadlines. Okay, so yes, the physical deadline to apply is now January 12th, both FEMA and SBA. Yes, that's for Alina's question. Okay, let's see.
Well, clearly I'm having an issue. So
thank you.
I'm just going to encourage everyone to, you cannot see my screen, can you?
I can see you, but not your screen.
Okay, good. All right. Well, in any event, I would just encourage people to go to our website, minnesota.score.org. If you think that a mentor is the way to go, check out our other workshops, podcasts, and resources. And you will be getting a survey, an email survey. If you would just take a moment to fill that in, it would be great. We'd like to hear what you liked about our presentation, what you didn't like about our presentation. There we go. Okay, I think I finally got it. So we have another chat. Do we have a message from someone? Nope. Nope, I thought I saw a chat or Q&A. No. Both FEMA and SBA deadlines are January 12th was the question.
Right, and I mentioned that both deadlines, okay. Yes, for both FEMA and SBA are January 12th. Yes, they recently extended the deadline to January 12th for the physical loan deadline. The actual economic injury disaster loan deadline is not till June 29th of 2023. Now, what kind of help can FEMA provide? Will they cover physical damage? What else? So I don't work for FEMA. I only work for Small Business Administration, so I can really only speak to SBA. But what I could tell you about FEMA is that they help with individual assistance. So currently, right now, they don't have a business program. But as I mentioned earlier in the training, is that FEMA is looking to start a business program. So we would encourage people to register with FEMA. So when they do roll out their business program, you will be notified, and then they would walk you over to SBA to apply with the low interest disaster loan. But what additional information can FEMA provide? I cannot answer that, but I would encourage you to visit one of their disaster recovery centers that's actually located in the slide deck that you will be getting via email, and you can ask your questions to FEMA at that location or any of those locations.
Good. And you also had a number of handouts. Will FEMA provide help in adjacent yellow counties such as Broward?
So that's a good question. So FEMA only, okay. So all of let's see, all of the green areas in the state of Florida that I showed earlier on in the presentation are what are all the primary counties that have the primary damage. Now, those 26 counties are the same counties that FEMA offers individual assistance. Now, the yellow counties are what SBA recognizes. So SBA has the business in their name. Of course, don't let the business and the business name fool you, because we do help homeowners and renters as well as nonprofits and businesses, right? However, SBA recognizes that there will be businesses in those contiguous counties, the yellow counties I mentioned, the adjacent counties to the primary counties, that will also be impacted economically. Now, in the state of Florida, we go everywhere. You know, we're not just secluded, or we stay in our one little area and county. There's tons of stuff to do all over the state of Florida. I mean, I know that. And so West Palm Beach, Broward County, every county has its major thing. Orlando, Tampa, Busch Gardens, you have something in Polk County. You know, there's stuff all over the state. So people travel all the time. Even, you know, a staycation in Florida sometimes isn't a staycation. It's technically out of the area. It's more than 50 miles away. And so the contiguous counties, like Broward County, for instance, would be only recognized by SBA, because we recognize that businesses in those counties will be economically impacted. So as I mentioned earlier, only small business types will be eligible for the economic injury disaster loan in those counties. So you wouldn't be eligible to apply for physical property damage if your business was, you know, you had any physical damage to the building itself. You would only be eligible for economic injury disaster loan in the contiguous counties. Great question. Thank you for asking that.
Got it. Good. All right. Well, I think we have happy campers. No more questions. I want to thank you, Sharon, for coming and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you
And
for
of
having me.
course, want to thank our participants, our people who have signed up for this. This has been recorded. You will be getting a copy of the recording in the next couple of days. You'll be getting a copy of the slide deck with all of this information. And Sharon has shared with us a few PDF files that we will also be attaching to this email. So it's going to be a big email with lots of important information in it. So without any more questions, I think we'll call it a day. And again, thank you so much for coming, for participating. Go to our website, check out the upcoming webinars. Some of them are really outstanding. I mean, I spend a lot of time putting these together with you in mind. What can we do to help you become a better business person? So thank you for coming, and have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Diane.
Bye.